Joining us in this very special interview is senior journalist from Bangladesh, Mr. Muktadir Rashid. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. After 5 days of internet cut in Bangladesh, today finally the internet is back. So this interview is happening. So, sir, what
Yeah,
happened in these 5 days? Bangladesh was totally cut off from the outside world. What happened in these 5 days in Bangladesh? The world does not know.
it's very difficult to explain what exactly happened. What I can say, it was a couple of days were like warlike situation. We don't know exact number of the deaths because we have been asking the government, the police officials, ministers, and others, the authorities about the total number of the deaths that took place over the days, but we don't know how many people were killed. What we know that at least 200 that newspaper can verify through different hospitals, and there are lots of people were injured, like more than thousands people were injured. Most of them were basically bullet wounds, and there were the series of clash. There are a number of violence in different parts of the city, especially in the capital Dhaka, and we don't have clear picture of the scenario because there were warlike situation. We have been receiving phone from different places that we are being attacked. We don't know what's going on. The government finally deployed the military. We came to know about the death number of deaths started decreasing after the deployment of the military. But by this time, government, the reason why students they have been protesting since July 1st about the reformation of the quota system in the government job. The government come up with the new reformation in the quota system. Yet it's more than nearly what we have learned, that nearly 200 deaths is the result of this. Yet the protesters said, there was a press conference today. The protesters said they want the withdrawal of the curfew. They want the restoration of the internet. They want the normalcy at the dormitories, educational institutions, and they also call for the security of those protesters, those who have been demanding this quota reform. And the few people, you must say, the situation around the prime minister's house, those and other important places are being cordoned by the military, and they have been patrolling since Friday. And this is the situation right at the point in Bangladesh.
When the protest started, the first response from the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was that she called the protesters as Razakars.
Yes.
For the people of Bangladesh, Razakar is a very big insult.
Yep. Indeed.
So how does calling protesters, that to students, basically betrayers or anti-nationals work? So you protest against the government, you're anti-national. How does that work in Bangladesh?
Well, that was a serious repercussion among the students, especially because they started saying, when I demand justice and I call for the elimination of the discrimination, they call us Razakar. So what they started saying, look, who said Razakar? Then some other protesters said, it is the autocrat said, it is the autocrat said. So in Bangla, they say, Rajakar, ke boleche Rajakar. So they said the Shoirachar says this Shoirachar. I mean, the Shoirachar means the autocrat. So the people here, the student, try to frame the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina as autocratic leader of Bangladesh. And for a political leader like Sheikh Hasina is been framed by the student as autocratic leader, and which is a bit unfortunate for the party that struggle for that has role in liberation war and restoration of the democratic process in Bangladesh. And this party people have been accused for attacking the students and also accused for beating the female students, shooting the people. We saw the ruling party leaders are using weapons against the students who have been chanting slogan, or they are those who are staging demonstration on the streets.
Or is the Prime Minister still safeguarding or protecting or defending this reservation system because it was brought by her father? The father of the nation, he brought the reservation for the freedom fighters' children. Is it very personal for the Prime Minister to defend this?
No, that is not. That is already been, the Quota protester, the reformists, those who are demanding the reformation. They are not saying that just withdraw it, just cancel it. They say they need kind of reformation. That is very crucial for many of the people, because the list for the freedom fighters are not finalized as yet, because there is so much of speculation about the list itself, and there's also criticism among the freedom fighters that whether the list is a correct list or not. So when the list is sometimes creates some controversy, so when you only use that for the government job, that is also a kind of discrimination. And there is a number of media reports over the years that officials or police official or admin official used the forged freedom fighter certificate to get job. So when the certificate is the PSC, which you have in India, those elects the IPS officer or IAS officer. So we have the PSC, Public Service Commission of Bangladesh. There is a huge scandal that those who are involved in recruitment, they are getting bribe to sell that questionnaires, and many of them are getting job out of that. So when the situation is like that, how can say it's a foolproof job arrangement? And that is very controversial nowadays.
What was the situation right now like in Bangladesh? I'm told the curfew is still on. Are the protesters trying to still come on streets, or is the violence still going on? Is the clash between the armed forces and the and the protesters still going on? How is the situation right now?
We haven't received any information, or we haven't received any violence last 2 days, especially after army took street and started mobilizing their force in the even very remote areas. But what we have learned today, there was a press conference by reformist student leader, and they said, look, this quota reform, what has been done by the government, by the notification, that is not done through any consultation with the stakeholders. So what they have said, they have placed fresh 4-point demands to the government for 48 hours, and after 48 hours, maybe they will go for any protest or not. They say that they they demanded the curfew should be withdrawn, the internet blockade should be, the internet should be restored, the atmosphere for the student should be restored so that they can go back to the hostel and they can continue their study. And finally, they said they are afraid of being picked up or arrested or being harassed. So they were looking for that kind of, they were seeking protection from the government so that they are not being picked up. So they called it in a press conference. It's a big press conference for on behalf of the student leaders, and they say now is the time for the government official, the government. They will decide whether we'll take the street again or not. So it's not finished. They didn't retreat. They will continue probably, and if their demands are not met.
Sir, what has happened is, firstly, when the internet went off, it looked like a very big attack on democracy. Second,
Absolutely.
there were advisories by other country consulates for their own people telling them to be safe and not travel. Then students started coming out. A lot of Indian students came back from Bangladesh. Do you think
Yeah.
this protest, all these incidents have brought a little damage to the Bangla image? Maybe Bangladesh's image.
Of course, it's a big democratic. Yes, of course. It's a big damage to Bangladesh when the government has been claiming that they have been trying to restore, they are promoting and upholding the democracy in Bangladesh, and we see what exactly happening in Bangladesh. That there is huge anti-Indian sentiment in Bangladesh because they have been saying that the democracy is decrease in Bangladesh because of the Indian intervention in the global pressure. That is the moment when it happened, when the India is a big friend of Bangladesh. We know, and there's anti-Indian movement right at this moment in Bangladesh because the Indian intervention into the global politics. And what happened? We saw it ultimately affect the education of the Indian friends, those who are studying here in Bangladesh. We have seen that more than several hundred students who are studying in Bangladesh, they had to leave due to this. So you see, it ultimately, I would say, it's not only it has impacted the image of my country, it's also impacted the everywhere. Well, I mean, those who know about Bangladesh, they will see it's what kind of images has been created. It's like Kashmir. I don't think that Kashmir has a similar experience like this. Probably it has. It maybe it specialized zone like Manipur can have this kind of but for Bangladesh, we couldn't imagine that we will have the similar situation like Kashmir or Manipur.
Right. Maybe how long will all this take? Because the students are not in classrooms, not in colleges, they're out on streets. It's a very alarming situation because students they need to be in classroom for the healthy education atmosphere. They're out on streets. How long will it take for the normalcy to return and students to continue their education and everything to get back on track?
Look, it's what government has done, that they only what they have done, they have only started the negotiation process with the student for what the students have been protesting. But if you look back the real crisis, the government has to create the environment for restoration of the peace at the environment in the education institution. It is whole sole responsibility of the government. Instead of doing that, the government has launched fresh crackdown on the opposition leaders, on the opposition parties, and they have started the so-called blame game. They are accusing the the opposition leaders, and then saying they wanted to topple the government. But the student, we have seen during the protest, the student have been chanting very unless they are being shot, or unless they are being killed, were not violent. They were not violent. We saw how brutally the police, I saw with my eyes, I can't say my eyewitness, the students were they were just marching, they were protesting with the coffin, and the police officer with APC, heavily armed, they fire on barred shots on the students. They charge the sound grenade. So you see, you try to create the scenario of clash. It is not a student they started. So if you blame the students after all this thing, the government now trying to blame the opposition, but ultimately we don't know whether the student will be prosecuted in the days coming.
I spoke to a lot of students. They told me the local media is not reporting. So, you being a journalist, I would like to ask you: is it the government what is stopping, or is the media really reporting, or what is happening? What's the media scenario?
No. The media is doing absolutely bad. Media, the newspaper, trying to do a little bit, they try to do better, but television media is reporting absolutely prescribed form of reporting. And I know that because the ownership pattern of Bangladeshi media has been widely reported, and that has been manipulated by the ruling parties and the agencies and others. So the protests are not being covered, even slightly covered by the newspaper, but that's the whole picture. They're not getting the whole picture of the scenario, because some places are yet inaccessible in some time, and it's not secret. And because of that, the journalists have been attacked. I was attacked because they were saying that you were the part of the regime, and then we have to say, look, I have been working with the international media, so I'm sorry, I'm covering for them. Then they release me. Otherwise, I could be beaten badly. And on the other hand, the army also trying to, if you try to take in a picture of how military is reacting to the student, so they are also trying to, they don't allow always to take the pictures. So the scenario is very critical for any journalists who are independent. So it's a typical situation.
Oh, you spoke about your situation. So were you attacked or arrested? What really happened when you were trying to cover the protest?
Well, first, when I was covering on the Thursday, I was, I was shot by the police, like when they were charging BART shots. So I was, I received at least 18 BART shots, and I was injured, and I had to cover after. I had to take medication, and then I had to continue my reporting because internet shutdown that left us absolutely dark. So we cannot send any report from Bangladesh when I have been receiving calls from my different. There is a lot of work I have. And I didn't upload any story on my on our portals. And on the other hand, when I was covering a clash and the protest. So I was in the middle of the protest, and the protester said, "Hey, you are traitor. You are not, providing the information. So you have to be. You are the collaborator." They try to attack me. So one of reporter, he said that he is working for an American press, so he was released. Then another said, "Look, I'm not covering that. I'm just a photographer." So he was released. And I had to say, "Look, I have been covering for this press, and I'm here. And look, my photo. I was also gunshot. I was shot at, and then they released me. So otherwise, they could beat me up. And one of us was really beaten."
So thank you so much for joining me for this conversation, because right after the right after internet came back in Bangladesh, people had to know what happened in these 5 days. It was total black shutdown because
Of
we
course.
never got any report from Bangladesh, no matter how big the newspaper or the channel was. We were tracking every media house. There was no
Yeah.
post, no tweet, nothing. So thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure having you, sir.
You're welcome. You are. Thank you.